Hello there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. I've got something to show you. There we go. Is it going to focus? There we go. That says 87%, and as you can see, subject is PPLA and I passed. So the PPL is a private pilot's license, and the PPL exam is a very difficult exam that you must pass to get this license. Now, 87% is quite a good score, with the pass mark being 70. There are many subjects in this exam. It's a really long exam. They give you 3.5 hours to finish it, but to be honest, you won't need that time if you study well. And it might seem a bit daunting if you're getting to that stage, but hey, I've put together this video so you can get 87% or higher. The first thing you have to realize is this is a really difficult exam. You wouldn't have done anything like this at school because there are multiple topics which you need to be really familiar with. That means you can't cram for this within a week or two. It is really hard. You have to set yourself at least a couple months. I'd go even longer. In fact, I set myself about 3 months with all the material and everything you could need to study for it, and that still wasn't enough. So at least 6 months. I was really lucky because during those 6 months I actually didn't get to fly, which I was upset about initially, but that gave me a lot of time to prepare. And I wouldn't sit this exam unless you've had at least 5 to 10 hours of flight experience already, so flight hours logged. That's just because if you start this exam from scratch, you will be in muddy water. My advice is to log your first 5 to 10 hours, especially if you train at a controlled aerodrome with a tower, and they'll give you, those are sort of your training wheels before you start to understand the fundamental stuff. So you want to sit the exam, you have a few hours of experience. What do you do next? Well, to start studying for it, these are the two textbooks I recommend. The Bob Tate Study Guides Volume 1 and Volume 2 for the RPL and PPL. Volume 1 especially is a really expensive book. Volume 2 is the top off for the PPL level. And these books, they have all the subjects you need to know, all the practice exams you need, and I really had a lot of fun studying with these two books. And they're not cheap, but they are 100% worth it. That's not it though. This exam is quite content heavy, so they do allow you to bring, CASR does allow you to bring some other documents into your exam. For example, this is the AIP, the Aeronautical Information publication, and it's got quite a few pages in it, but it is a really, really helpful book. And especially if you're going to do your CPL later, you really want to know this book quite well. For example, there's the first flight and arc to time conversions. You'll know about that once you start studying. This has everything you need as a sort of general bucket. Now, if you want to go more specific, you want this as well. This is the ERSA. This has all the aerodromes in Australia. So it has the information about every single aerodrome, at least that CASR knows, and that's serviceable. You'll need this 100% as well. And the next thing is the VFRG, Visual Flight Rules Guide. This is kind of like the AIP, but it's a bit more friendly towards visual flight rules pilots, so from the RPL to PPL level. And you also want to know this book pretty well because you are allowed to use all of these during your exam to search through them. That's why they give you 3 hours. Now, I'd say those are the bare minimums. There are some other books that you can get. For example, this is CASR Part 61. This has regulations and rules for it for the air law part of the exam. If you struggle in air law, which I know I definitely did, you will want to get this book. There's another one, Plain English Guide for Part 91, which is also really helpful. Now, additionally, these are some extras which you might not need, but I highly recommend you get them. This is an E6B flight computer used to calculate all sorts of stuff from ground speed, wing correction angle, calibrated airspeed to true airspeed. This will all make a ton of sense to you once you start your exam. Very handy tool and very nice if you know how to use it. Now, some other stuff. They'll also ask you questions in the PPL exam which relate to navigation, especially using maps. They won't use any random map. They tell you exactly which maps to use. And these ones here, these are World Aeronautical Charts, that's what they're called. And they are huge maps. For example, this one is Bourke. As you can see, pretty big. It's upside down, but very big. And you will definitely see a few of these come up in your exam for the navigation parts. Now, what I haven't gone through yet is online methods, because your exam will be online. So it is very smart to study with online practice exams. And the website I really liked using was PilotPracticeExams, run by Matt. Of course, I'm not associated with him at all. It's just a really helpful website, YouTube channel as well. And I'll link both of those in the description. He's great. And there are so many online exams and even courses which you can do. Practice PPL exams, practice RPL. You could even practice for your flight test theory, and there are full courses just like the Bob Tape ones. In my opinion, getting the Bob Tape books was more helpful, but if you do want to practice online, which I do recommend, Pilot Practice Exams is your go-to. The next point I want to bring up is you need to find the study method that works for you. Me personally, I know I loved binging through the textbooks and then skimming through them, which is not what a lot of people recommend. So what I would do is I would open to chapter 1. I would read every single word, absorb it all in like a sponge. And there is a little test at the end of each chapter. So I would attempt the test after reading everything through fully. And for the questions I got wrong, then I would skim back and find the answers. And I just learned doing that from experience. It's what I enjoyed doing more. Other methods were less fun and not as effective for me. So it's important you find what works for you before it's too late. And the final point I wanted to bring up is once you finish your private pilot's license exam, no matter how many flight hours you've done, it will give you so much confidence when you're sitting in the left seat. You will be so much more aware. Definitely from my own experience, there was a huge difference between flying before sitting the exam and flying after the exam. You really do feel like a pilot for real, and you know a whole lot more about what's going on. So it's a very intelligent decision to do your exam early rather than late. It's your responsibility again to know what's going on around you. That will wrap it up for today. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I will link everything you need in the description and also put a list of what equipment you can use. All the equipment I used was from the Airservices List, but there's also a Jeppessen List, and you can't mix the two. You can find all that information on CASR's website, but as I said, that will probably be enough. So I'm Rachel, make sure you stay safe in the skies, and I'll see you in the next one.